What's up guys, Sean from the Nerdler here. Thanks for tuning into this video. Occasionally when I'm not making videos, I tend to play a lot of video games. I'm not someone who buys games day one, so I tend to play more popular things that are newer later. And Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is one of those games that I've avoided because I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it. And after watching the amazing trailer for the sequel to this game, I got really excited and I was like, I'll play it. If you're like me and still haven't played this game, well, don't worry, I'm not going to give you any spoilers. This is just my experience playing the game, what I liked and what I didn't like about the game. So let's get started with the Senua's Curse. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice was released in August 2017 by the developer Ninja Theory, to whom is known for two games that everyone forgot about within a week after releasing. It's like, here's you, your girl, and her attractive dom lesbian friend she tells you not to worry about. The game takes place in the 8th century where a Pictish warrior named Senua returns to her Orkney village to find her entire community as well as her lover Dillion brutally murdered by Viking raids. And when she finds her lover strung up and mutilated via Blood Eagle, it literally breaks her mind. And now, with Dillion's severed head and her sword, she ventures into the dark lands of the Norsemen to gain entrance into Helheim and confront the goddess of death, Hela. Also, she can absolve the soul of her dead lover. For the entire game, Senua is tormented by voices she hears in her head, but they also serve as a reminder to the player that Senua's mind is completely detached from reality.
I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts. It's not too late to get into the boat and go back.
And throughout the rest of the journey, it only gets worse. The primary focus for this game as far as mechanics go is puzzles first, combat second. And I'll admit that at first it was kind of a letdown. I wanted something that had a little bit more depth as far as combat, but as you play this game and you start to unravel the storytelling of this world, it really kind of balances out in a way. The majority of the puzzles in this game focus around illusions, playing into the mental health aspect where we are not sure if we're actually seeing things how they actually are, or we're just seeing what Senua was seeing, thus adding to the losing one's sanity element, which I really like. Every part of this game that has a puzzle is pretty much the exact same thing. Find a rune somewhere in the environment by looking from a specific angle to line up the environmental objects, or repairing a shattered bridge by looking at it intently, with other minor puzzle mechanics sprinkled in. I would say about 80% of this game is puzzles, which is fine, I could take it or leave it, but where the game really shines in my opinion is the other 20%, combat. Alright, you know what, we're just gonna get into the combat right now because the times where you do fight in this game are few and far between. Simply put, the combat is satisfying. We have light and heavy sword combo attacks, you can dodge roll, and you can even melee attack to break guards. Along with one magic spell that slows down time, allowing you to annihilate the fuck out of multiple jacked Viking dudes. Unfortunately, the enemies in this game are lacking. Don't get me wrong, they look really, really cool, but there's like five maybe? And I have to say, for there being maybe 4 standard boss fights in the entire game, they're all fucking terrifying. The thing with Hellblade is, it's sort of a roguelike, where Senua's arm is cursed, and every time you die, the darkness slowly creeps up her arm, and once it reaches her head, you lose all of your save data and have to start all the way over. And I love how they did the motion cap for this character, because every time you swing or get hit, you can see like the emotion and the desperation in Senua's face, like she's literally fighting for her last breath. Throughout the entire game, you're going to be finding these runic totems. When activated, you get narration from a character called Druth. Druth is Senua's deceased friend and former mentor, who gives you exposition pertaining to Scandinavian mythos that parallels Senua's trials.
As your darkness comes from hell, and your fate lies there. They say the burning of a corpse will take you straight to Hela's gate, but gods and the living will follow this path.
There was a particular artistic direction that Hellblade takes at certain points in the game that were very confusing and kind of took me out of this world. There's a handful of scenes where they use real footage of actors voicing and acting out their lines in very schlocky costumes. Every time this happened, I got like flashbacks of that VHS tabletop board game called Dragon Strike or some Sega Saturn FMV cutscene.
The answer is obvious. If the dwarf created the Sunstone, he can also destroy it. So to protect it from destruction, the sorcerer has jailed the dwarf.
And suddenly, I kind of understood why they made that decision. One, because we know Senua has lost her mind. And in this game, there is a big emphasis on bridges, metaphorically and physically. The dichotomy between Senua's delusions and what actually is reality plays a key part and haunts her throughout the entire length of this game. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it here, Senua's Sacrifice should not be a video game. It should be a fucking feature-length movie. And sadly, for all of the things that this game does right, it all boils down to being a linear puzzle game with shallow combat elements. And that doesn't mean the game is bad. In fact, I actually really like this game. But Ninja Theory has a problem of wanting to make movie video games, and there is a fine line between a fun video game and a good movie. Ninja Theory is trying to have their cake and eat it too, and I don't blame them because I could see what this game could be on the big screen. And I can also see this as a video game with a rich story, with depthful combat and gameplay, but you gotta have one or the other. You can't mix the two together because then you get something that feels unfinished. And this game kind of does feel unfinished, not in a graphically way, in a we don't really know what to do, so we're just gonna fill the game with fucking puzzles. But it's okay, we have a really good story, we have really good graphics, we have really good voice acting, we have half of a good game. As far as my opinion of it, I did not like the ending of this game, but it wasn't enough to make me dislike the game as a whole. I still think that it has a lot of problems, and I'm hoping when we get the sequel to this game, it will be more fleshed out as far as gameplay mechanics. Anyway, that is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I did not play it on the Xbox, I played it on PC, but I have the Xbox version because it was cheap and I wanted it for my collection because I do like this game. I honestly think that this was a trial for the game that we're eventually going to get, which is the sequel. That's going to be the game that Ninja Theory wanted to make. And I honestly don't know where the game's going to go because it ends on such a, I wouldn't say flat, but little wiggle room. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, because it lets you know when I make new content, which is every week! And go check me out on social media. Links are down below in the video description, and I will see you guys next time in the Nerd Lair. Stay crazy, because Senua's crazy. I don't know.
Querida, solo tú debas que vaya para eso,